Hello, my name's Elijah Wells, and today's review is Scott Vaughn's new movie, Expendables 4. Following a botched operation to get after a mercenary and a rogue arms dealer, Lee Christmas, played by Jason Statham, pretty much ends up being kicked out of the Expendables group, and both the Expendables and Lee Christmas go on their own paths to essentially go after the rogue mercenary-arms dealer, Ramat. The Expendable film series is basically my personal guilty pleasure cinema. Like, I don't care how much people will say negatively about the film series. It has a little bit of a special place in my heart. Just only a brain off of really fun entertainment of basically big macho actors, basically playing around with their guns and taking out some foreign militias or some very shady criminals in the process. After the third one, met with some unenthusiastic critical reviews and a less enthusiastic box office returns, the series unfortunately had a bit of an identity crisis afterwards. Like, there were talks about a TV show that were going to happen, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen. There was going to be an all-female version of the Expendables, being Expendables, but that never saw the light of day again. So the fourth one was pretty much on a very long, albeit pretty weird delay. Like, it was basically like 9 years ago since the last Expendable movies happened. Now, let me say, like, within that time, John Wick, the film series with Keanu Reeves, released his entire series within that role. So 9 years should be a very good time to basically mature the franchise and see where all the characters have went up to and see how everyone has evolved in their own separate ways. And the movie actually sucks. Like, you spent 9 years without expendable films, and this is what you came up with. Like, is that the best you can do? Really? We waited 9 years for this? Really? Like, are you trolling us at this rate? Okay, I might be getting a bit ahead of myself, but really? This is it? Like, of course, like, you've got the guy from Raid. What could go wrong? Apparently now, everything now. I just need to calm down a little bit and scream into my pillow while you're gonna be my therapist and basically saying why I just did not get behind Expendables 4. The story-wise, like I just said earlier, Lee Christmas, portrayed by Jason Statham in the movie, pretty much dominates this entire movie. Like, it's practically his solo spin-off movie at this point. Like, it's mostly just about him. It was basically after a severely botched mission, and he unfortunately gets a lot of the blame for it, as in tried to save money, but the mission goes even more southward than it did. Then, unfortunately, the group said, you know what, we're going on without you. And it's basically just him having a bit of a crisis about the Expendables and being like, you know what, I'm just going to do their mission. I'm just going to join them. And I think I just didn't quite understand it. Like, there was this one scene where he's like going on job hunting and he becomes a security guard for a very douchebaggy influencer who I'm just going to call him an Andrew Tate wannabe, and it only just results to the Andrew Tate wannabe getting physically assaulted by Lee Christmas. I thought to myself, like, this is a really funny scene. Then 5 minutes later, I just deep down died inside and find out, oh wait, this is the most joy I'm going to have out of this movie for like under 2 hours. Like, the most joy I'm going to have under 2 hours. Like, please, why did you do this to me? And the storyline, even though, yes, the stories are not the biggest thing in the Expendables franchise, this one feels a lot more rushed and a lot more unfocused for some reason. Yes, we have the Expendables trying to go on without Lee Christmas. Yes, it's about Lee Christmas's midlife crisis, and it's also about his falling apart marriage with Gina, played by Megan Fox, and it's also about that mercenary who's wanting to get some nuclear detonators to start World War III, and it's also about lot of grieving about members who have gone between movies, and it felt like it's just way too much ingredients into one soup essentially. Like I feel like it's just way too much, a way to make cooks in the kitchen in a weird sense of a way. Like I feel like there is just way too much going on at once to the point the movie just completely loses tracks of itself and just loses focus on itself, which is just somewhat really weird. And Sylvester Stallone, he's, I kid you not, as a person who's almost like the biggest name and the biggest person in the posters, he's barely even in the movie. Like he's only in the movie for like 20 minutes because I'm not going to spoil it or anything, but when it comes to twist ending around him, it just completely cheapens the entire movie. Like I feel like it just went for the silly, cheapy option. We felt cheated out, we felt cheated, and it just felt like it was just really silly about his twist ending and how he pulls certain scenes off and all that. It just feels really, really just so silly. Even the action scenes, they're pretty much the temple of these franchises, they're somehow a bit slower, a little more drawn out for some reason, and they're pretty boring now. Like, some of these fights are either just drag on to the point where nothing really excites it anymore, or just when it starts getting exciting, it just ends abruptly for some reason. There was Rama, played by Akira Waras, who I completely botched the name of, who completely won me over with the Raid movies, which are an action films from Indonesia, which are some of the most intense, some of the most enthralling, some of the most brutally gut-wrenching action scenes you probably could find anywhere. I think this could be like a legit John Wick rival if you come to think about it. And when it comes to his fight scenes, they just bizarrely end for some reason, and they don't really contain that much of the ferocious, animalistic energy that you would particularly find in like the Raid movies. Like he doesn't feel as that much unleashed. He just feels a bit more restrained. It feels a bit more of a controlled fight. Like I can kind of tell there's more of a focus on choreography as a part of the Raid movies, where it's just absolute monstrosity chaos. Let's talk about the writing of this movie. Like, I swear this is so stilted and so stiff, this writing, that I swear it's not just written by a child this time, it's written by AI or ChatGPT or whatever it's been called nowadays. Like, I don't honestly care, but to be honest, like this feels so generic, so cliched, and so one-note, and just so familiar with the other movies that I swear they didn't like really do anything to venture off, do anything about it. Like I swear the writing process of this movie is one of the writers just went to ChatGPT and be like, write the Expendables 4 script, but make it more about Jason Statham's character, since really we just wanted to make a solo movie about him. Perfect! We'll use this script and we just won't bother rewriting it. Like, I can't get this impression of that script. Like, I feel like the writers didn't really try with this one now. Even though, again, I'm not really... the Expendables are not going to be complete contenders when it comes to Oscar writing, but, oh my word, like, that's low, even my low standards for this writing. Like, it just feels really stiff and wooden, and there's a large emphasis on expositions. Like, the movie almost tells you what's going to happen. Like, it's not a show don't tell, it's more like tell and more telling, in a weird sense, that the movie almost like explains it to you more than a narration would. But what about Jet Li, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Terry Crews? They're not in the movie for some unknown reason whatsoever. Yes, we have the cast regulars of Dolph Lundgren, Jason Statham and Stallone in the movie. Like, this time, they're old. They're pretty much in retirement phase. They will constantly break their backs or on medication for some reason, and they're old now. Yay! Something I want to see. Like, a bunch of boomers who are contemplating their old age. Like, I just... Why? Why would you want to go in this direction? Like, okay, maybe good if it's like something like Logan, where all his friends just disappeared at the end, and he's pretty much the last remaining of his own kind. But Expendables, it just feels like nothing really is at stake, considering they have that older age that's pretty much like you being held against them like an anchor on a ship or something like that. But I think they never really went as far like, I'm old. It's not like the olden days, and it just doesn't go beyond that at all, really, in my opinion. It's just almost a form of cinematic gaslighting at this point. In a movie that's already as fun as taking very powerful sleeping medication, the movie, when it comes to visual effects and CGI, it's abysmal. Like, when I thought the effort was low on writing, low on the stiff acting already, and pretty low on the writing as well, and low on pretty much all the fronts, you thought, maybe special effects could hold up. No, they did not. Like, the green screening in some scenes was so unbelievably obvious. Like, I swear this is like an old, one of my old student projects I was in, like, or basically something probably like fool around on a green screen, like, oh no, a meteorite, let's run, and just running statically like this, with no sense of like actual urgency behind my acting, and the green screen, it feels so glaring at some points. Like, I think sometimes it looks like it's lit differently, or the color grading is completely different. Like, it's so off at some points, it's almost like unbelievably jarring at some points. And the CGI doesn't get any better anyways. Kind of like this movie, it looks unfinished at best. Like, I swear this is like one of these demo things you can't find around on YouTube. Like, I don't know, plane crashes onto the ground as CGI demo, or an earthquake demo or something, or a whole building gets blown up CGI demo. Like, something I actually do find interesting on YouTube. Like, it's basically showing off the software and all that, and showing off the destruction particles and how it would be destroyed in a realistic scenario. It kind of looks like that. Like, it either looks like a video game from 20 years ago roughly, or just looks like a CGI demo, or like a rough animation you would find somewhere on Twitter. Like, it's almost like, I swear, it's just, the movie looks rushed at this point. Like, I think this is what happens when a studio executive just wants a movie to get done and over with, without, like, I don't know, treating like a tax write-off or something, or just give it another delay for another year to just improve on some bits and that. And even the movie visually, like, I don't know, even anime looks more realistic, even though it's animated-ish. Who knows, it could, I don't know, benefit with a dub or subs or something, but I think at this point, the movie's just beyond repair at this point. Even though, again, I am not depicting the Avengers film series as basically full-blown works of art or just perfect from top to bottom, but this movie just feels really unfinished at points. Like, the writing feels unbelievably clunky, like it's a first draft or something. The movie visual effects looks notably unfinished at certain instances. The acting is very stiff at so many instances I lost count. The storyline is pretty much so unfocused that it's almost like a choose your own adventure movie. And on top of it, the movie pacing wise is somehow pretty longer than I anticipated. Like, the movie's like 100 minutes or so. I feel like it's like over 2 hours at this point, and I felt like also the action scenes just feel almost lack the energy and lack the absolute chaos of the previous film in the series. It just feels like a rushed job at this point, and I feel like there's not a good conscience behind this movie at all, or a good judgment, or it's definitely a very ill-conceived movie at this point. Like, maybe get a laugh out of Jason Statham beating up some Andrew Tate wannabe, but all in all, this movie just made me feel a bit dead inside. Like, I was walking home from the cinema that I watched at, and I also work at. I was just walking home to the station without like any care in the world. Like for example, like a buggy rolls by, or someone was skateboarding. Like, oh, what's that? Oh, I don't care. Oh, what's that? Oh, I don't care. Like, the movie just kind of sucks any joy out of the film series. It's like it's putting itself out of its misery, so I'm feeling Expendables 4, it's a 3 out of 10. So, what do you think of Expendables 4? Let me know in the comments below, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Letterboxd, and this is Elijah Wells, and bye!